What is up, everybody? Sound check, check. Let me know if it's okay, if the sound's okay. Excuse me for the lighting because all my light stands are packed away. So I have my lights on the floor shining up at me, so I look a little bit ghostly. Kind of like that cool graphic that was actually made by Rob and Scrivo from the Honest Wargamer, who are coming over tomorrow, flying over, and they made that pretty sick little graphic that I've been literally splashing everywhere I have access to. So anyway, that's pretty cool. And you know what else is cool? This.
The Honest Wargamer presents, in association with the 40K Stat Center, and hosted by CanHammer, a Warhammer 40,000 event in ITC format. The world's best T-Sports commentators live on the Honest Wargamer Twitch. Who will be the champion, and how many nights will they have? Who will come last but will win our hearts? Join us for Canada's largest 40K event, the Capital City Bloodbath. You should join us, it's going to be really great.
You should join us. It's going to be really great. It's a great video. I love it. So anyway, I've also been trying to splash that everywhere I can. You'll probably see more of that in the next 2 days. Thanks very much for joining me, everybody, on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. Thank you to our patrons and our sponsors. Archon Prankster, how are you tonight? Lord Draconis, welcome. Glad you could join us before you make the drive down. We've got Budtastic Guy, welcome. And Francois, welcome. And C Farsight, welcome as well. Thank you very much for joining us. I wasn't going to stream this week, but I'm too excited that I had to let it out. And even if nobody is watching, I'm going to still talk to myself. So that's the joy of streaming. 16-hour drive, that's pretty good. You better get started, man. But we really appreciate people making 16-hour drives to come to our little part of the world and partake in this amazing event. I am super excited. Half of my basement is stacked with crates and things that I have to bring tomorrow. So it's going to be really good. We will probably spend a good number of hours tomorrow setting up, and it's going to be amazing. We've got the carpet, we've got all the tables, we've got the streaming area is going to be set up. We're going to be covering 2 tables. There's going to be basically Dan and Dylan are transplanting their entire store to the venue. We've got the gamer garage sale. We're going to have the painting area. It's going to be amazing. Anyway, I won't harp on too much about things like lists and things like that, because guess what? Everybody's put their list in, except for one person, Brian Adlard. I'm calling you out right now. No list as of right now still. Otherwise, almost 200 lists all submitted. Thank you very much. Great job, everybody. We do have probably 2 or 3 late signups as well. Basically, ETC members returning back to the land of Canada and being completely pressured by their colleagues to come and have succumbed. Peer pressure is one of the strongest pressures in existence. So we'll be seeing more people join that list of players. We may break 120, which would be cool. Last year we were at 104, so we've almost made a 20% increase, which is fantastic. And that's being the week right after ETC. So next year we will try and plan that a little bit better, but it's a tight schedule these days, and we're only 2 weeks from Nova. So, it's hard to squeeze it in these days. There's a lot of events. But anyway, it's going to be amazing. So what we're going to talk about tonight is a little bit my predictions for Capital City Bloodbath, both for 40K and AOS. We are going to talk about this weird Canadian sub-meta of Capital City Bloodbath. We're always a little bit different, but this wet meta is kind of weird. It's a little bit like 2018 meta, actually. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, and then we'll go over the coverage a little bit. But first, I'm going to start with FAQs. And FAQs about Capital City Bloodbath. So I get a lot of messages every day for the last few weeks about things, arrangements, rules, stuff like that. Nope, no worries. That's what we're here for. Some FAQs that we have had, and some of them I've posted and some of them I have not. First of all, we will not be using the Space Marine Codex, the new one. It is not even out yet. I know everyone thinks it's out because everybody's seen leaks and there's people with videos and there's people playing bat reps already with it. But for the mere mortals, we cannot get the book until Saturday. So we're not using it, obviously. This is a surprisingly common question we get asked. So we're not using a new Space Marine Codex. Sorry about that. However, if you want to buy the new Space Marine Codex, Dan and Dylan will have lots of them there. And of course, you can claim your CanHammer discount. So, it might actually sell out. If you really want one, you should message Dan or Dylan and get them to reserve you one. But they will be there on Saturday. You can buy them, and there you go. But new Space Marine Codex is not in Capital City Bloodbath. Sorry about that. Another question is, will there be beer? Yes, there will be beer. Beer will be sold on Friday and Saturday, I think after lunch for like 3 or 4 hours. We need to sell at least $100 100 beers, I think. Something like that. Anyway, we have to sell either $100 a beer or 100 beers in that 3 or 4 hours, or else we're going to lose money. So don't let us down, guys. We got like 200 people. We should be able to sell that much beer. But there will be a bar, and please drink responsibly. But yes, there will be a bar. We're not allowed to have a bar on Sunday, so there will not be a bar on Sunday. However, you want to keep your wits about you on Sunday because it is Gamer Garage Sale. So Gamer Garage Sale this year is going to be huge. I've gotten 10 or 12 messages from people just asking if they can just bring shit to sell and to come and buy stuff without actually being an event. And of course you can. It's open to everybody. You do not need to pay entry to use the Gamer Garage Sale to buy or sell. It's going to be massive. We're expecting a lot. I've got about $1,400 worth of stuff I'm trying to get rid of, which is pretty crazy. I know. And probably by this time next year, I will have accumulated another $1,400 worth of stuff that I did not do anything with. So, so I'm going to have a whole carload of stuff that I just need to get rid of. If you want Tau, I'm your man. But yeah, so there's going to be a lot of stuff. Drop-off is Friday and Saturday. And then the garage sale opens 8 sharp on Sunday morning. And we delay the start of the 4th round so that people can shop at the sale. And if you were there last year, there's going to be a line that you cannot cross. And then at 8 o'clock, there's going to be a stampede. And if you are brave enough to get in the way of Kevin and Irvin Armitage, you may actually get some good deals. I'm just kidding. But seriously, don't stand in front of Kevin and Irvin Armitage in front of a garage sale. Fantastic guy. I don't know if there's an ATM on site. There probably is. It's at the EY Center, the big convention center. So there's probably one of those like $5 fee ATMs on site. My advice would be to go to your own bank sometime in the next few days and get some cash. And get your max budget in cash so that you don't end up spending more than you would like. It is cash only. I don't think we have any credit card facilities or anything like that, so you will have to bring cash. But you can scope out what there is, of course, on the Saturday and then know how much you want to buy on the Sunday. But yeah, so that's the Gamer Garage Sale. Open on Friday, Saturday to drop stuff off, and then Sunday open to sell. If you want to make your drop-off process as painless as possible, do separate out your items how you want to sell them individually or as a group or whatever. Bag them up or box them up if you can, but allow people to be able to look at them. Label them. And if you really want to be cool, like I am, make a spreadsheet, what it is, how much you want for it ideally, and what's the lowest you're going to go. And there you go. I believe the bar, I don't know. I can't speak for the venue. I don't know if you'll be able to use card or not at the bar. Again, if you want to be safe, bring cash, but they may have a little swipey thing. I don't know. I'm sorry, Prison Warden, and welcome. Yeah. There's lots of parking, so don't worry about parking. You park around the front. It's on the south side of the building. You'll see where there are the most cars. That's to the right as you drive in the front, the south side of the building. So it's hall number 1. There will be carpet. It's going to be sweet. Okay, so that's one of the FAQs. Another FAQ was, so I think for the 40K, the ITC updated some of the wording on their secondaries literally like a few weeks ago, after we had already finalized and printed all the packs. So we don't have quite exactly the same wording on like Gangbuster, I think, and Reaper as the very newest ITC Championship missions. However, they are in effect the same. They just clarified the English, so there's no change. So for example, so Mark for Death don't count towards Reaper, etc. Like, so all this, it's actually pretty clear in the old pack too, but they just extra clarified the English. So there's that was asked and brought up by Scary. But regardless of what the pack says, if there's an issue with that, we will be referring to the most up-to-date. Either of the rules works really, because it's the same. That's what I'm trying to say. There's not really any change. Okay. Yeah, so there's not really any other major FAQs. And that's about it. So we will be welcoming the stream team of Honest Wargamer. That's Rob Symes and John Scrivo. And they are coming over tomorrow, and we'll be setting up on Friday. They are joined by Val and Peter, the Falcon, from 40K Stat Center, fellow Canadians. They could not pass up the opportunity. So they're actually talking a little bit about the lists tonight as they record, literally right now. But they'll be doing full coverage afterwards, obviously. I have some interesting statistics to share with people, because Peter took some time and compiled all the lists as he normally does pre-event, so we can talk about that a little bit tonight. So thank you very much, Peter, for your hard work with all the statistics. I don't know how the guy does it. I hate math. But it's very interesting as we talk about this hashtag Canadian meta. I would like people, whatever they have to do in the next few days to do with CCBB, getting your army ready, getting it ready, a final ready for CCBB shot, use the hashtag CCBB 2019. Let's see if we can build up a nice little social media thing going during the event. Hashtag all your photos. It'll be really cool to get a nice hashtag going. Hashtag CCBB 2019. Okay. So I think that's most FAQ. If people have questions, please write it in the chat, and I'll answer it as we go. Not, I mean, if you have a rules question, you can ask, but I might not be able to answer it. But yeah, the one thing I will say about rules questions, and some people confuse this a little bit. Oh, Jim, I'm going to answer your question, and you'd be surprised. So keep in mind, we are judges. We are not responsible to know your rules. You have to know your rules, and you have to bring documentation of your rules. That's expected. So if you have a dispute, we are not there to find your rules and to look them up. You have to show them to us and prove your case, and we'll make a ruling. Some people forget that that's what the judge does. We don't look up rules. We don't have all the rules with us. We may not know all the rules. We don't know all the rules. We just make rulings based on the evidence presented to us. All right. Okay. Yes, so there will be packs. We spent like $300 on paper printing stuff for you guys. There will be little bits of swag when you sign in, and there will be a raffle. There will be little door stuff, and then there's going to be quite a lot of prize support. Basically, Dan and Dylan are bringing their entire store. You will get prizes if you win something, but if you don't like it, you can just walk over to the table and exchange it for something else. There you go. It's perfect. And as you might have saw on our Instagram earlier today, the trophies are ready. We have the same Thunderhammer trophy for the 40K champion, and this year we also have a giant Sigmarite hammer for the AOS champion. They are looking pretty sweet, and you get to take that home. We're going to keep the plinth and put your name on it. So there's a new one now for AOS this year, but you get to keep the actual trophy. So, and you can have it. I can engrave it for you, or you can just take it home. It's up to you. So that's ready to go. And yeah, it's looking great. So painting competition. So we had some questions about the painting competition. Yes, you will have to leave your submitted model there in the painting competition area. Sorry, it's been like that for a number of months, and I'm sorry if that's a surprise to some people now, but it is what it is. Because you should take pride in your painting and display it for people, and we want all the nice models sitting on a nice display table for people to see, and while they get judged and things. So if it was part of your list, you're going to have to decide if you want to put it in for painting competition or to play with it. Yeah. them's the breaks. The painting competition will be registering on Friday all day. We have some volunteers to do that. And then Saturday morning up until lunchtime. And then Zach will be there on Saturday morning, Zach from Brushfire Studios, and he'll do all the judging on Saturday afternoon in the various categories as described. And then the winner will be announced at the end of the event. There is prizing provided to us graciously by Army Painter, whole paint sets and brush sets and things like that. So it's going to be cool, and it's going to be pretty sweet. So we even have like a nice display black tablecloth. That's how sick it is. And Silent Rock, welcome. A little bit late to the party, but you're here now, and that's what matters. Lord Draconis is trash-talking Jim, which is a risky proposition. Too bad we don't have grudges, but there we go. And Boucher and can anyone come in to spectate? Yes, that's a very frequently asked question. Anybody is welcome to come and watch. Obviously, if you're watching, don't interfere with the game like a spectator, like anybody. Nobody should interfere with the game being played. But for sure, you can come and spectate. Don't disturb the streamers. You can definitely spectate for free. You don't have to pay just to watch. And you can pay, and you can come buy beer if you want. And you can obviously, as I said already, take part in the Gamer Garage sale. So, yes. And I do welcome anybody to come and watch. Ideally, you guys should come play. But if you want to just come watch, you definitely can. And that's it. All right, so let's talk about some statistics. So, final numbers, we have 114 players on BCP right now. That does not include Dustin Henshaw, who is coming, and Tori Pete, who's taken the place of Devin, because Devin could not come after ETC. Apparently, he's too tired. So we'll end up with 116, assuming everybody turns up. And so that's pretty good. Last year we had 104 was the final number, so that's pretty good. We're going to just look at some sort of macro stats here provided by the Falcon. So faction breakdown. We have 1, 7, 8. We have about 51 lists out of 114 that are mono faction. And then the rest are soup of some sort. The faction with the most number of detachments is Imperial Knights. And that's actually... so the most number of detachments, Imperial Knights, 27. And that's actually tied with Tau. But of course, each Tau army will have 3 detachments of Tau. So you probably cut that in 3. In terms of number of lists... Tau lists, we actually have 10. So that is that's about right. So Tau is usually pretty represented in capital city Bath, and so that's no difference. The other thing, knights are always represented. Last year we had 170 knights between small knights and big knights, and this year is definitely no different. Imperial Knights makes up 27 detachments. In 26 lists and 4 mono knight lists. Next we have Drukhari. It's 23 detachments made of Drukhari, and 5 of those are mono lists. And then we've got Astra Militarum at 21 and Space Marines at 19, of which 5 are mono. So some of the super ones are probably like Blood Angels, Death Watch, stuff like that. So that's pretty interesting. Totally expected. If we look at units. Okay, so now if we're looking at the most number of units, the Knight Crusader is the most common. 29 Knight Crusaders. Number of units and number of models, obviously. Other than that, though, the infantry squad, there's 54 units of infantry squad making up 500-something models. And then next up is come to commanders, so that's pretty standard. And then we have tech priests at 25 units of tech priests, so that's probably with your Rusty 17s and stuff. Then, maybe a shout out to Jim here, 13 units of poxbringers. That is the 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth most common unit at Capital City Bloodbath this year. Poxbringers, and then Shield Captains. There you go. Okay, Knight Gallants. There's 41 Knight Gallants. 14 Knight Gallants. Plague Bears, 557 Plague Bears. Nice. In 10 lists. The Chaos Soup, Gym style, TJ style, variations of those two, basically very common this year. Very common. There's 150 shield drones and 22 riptides. There are only 40 Nurglings. There's 8 Ahrimans. And 13 Demon Princes of Tzeentch. All right. What else do we got? We got 7 Sloppity Bow Pipers and 15 Tank Commanders. 80 Custodes Bikers. So let's talk about this for a second. So there are only 116 players. There are only 5 Caladius tanks. 5 tanks, not 5 lists with tanks. 5 tanks. Blows my mind. This is literally the best unit we have right now in the Codex or plus supplement, and nobody's running them. 2 of them are in one list, 2 of them and 3 are in another. That's it. 2 people out of I think 10 or 12 Custodes lists, and never mind all those Imperial Soup lists that are not using Caladiuses too. It just blows my mind why that is. It's so prevalent everywhere, and there's like 5 tanks in Ottawa. That's it's really interesting. And I gotta say that Custodes players out there, you're not doing it right, man. You gotta use that shit before it gets nerfed. Anyway, so contrary to that, last year's Custodes meta, now we have the return of the bikes this year. We have 80 bikers this year, split over 7 lists. So that's pretty interesting. DJ Dunn, welcome. You would like to play Jim or Scary first round? I'm sure they would oblige you. A Silent Rock, 18 of those bikers are yours. Yeah, man. 18 bike list, old school. And Jim China has run out of tanks, and I hear they're buying them from Russia now. So, Knight Despoiler. Knight Despoiler, I think, is the Chaos Castellan. There's 10 of them already. And there's 7 G-Mans. 7 G-Mans. Not too bad. Lord Discordant, 13. Not that many, considering the lists that are running them are usually running 3. There's only, 6 lists with 13 Lord Discordants. 10 Smash Captains, 9 Armigers, and only 6 Demon Princes of Khorne. There you go. Let's see what else is interesting here. Wyverns, 5 Wyverns, 194 Acolytes, and 5 Cerastus Knight Castigators. Oh. Despoiler is the Crusader. Okay, there you go. Well, that makes sense. That's definitely the most popular chassis. 8 Vulture Gunships in 4 lists. 9 Doomsday Arcs, 4 Necron lists. And so that's pretty interesting. 8... no, that's wrong. 6 Astropaths, blah, blah, blah. Shock attack guns, only 6 shock attack guns. 32 well-dressed Praetorian Guardsmen. That sounds amazing. I love the Praetorians. Grandmaster, 6 Grandmaster Dread Knights. Well, I know Shaylin's coming, and so she's probably bringing at least a few of those. Foul Blight Spawn, 5 of them. Those things are nasty. And Drago, 3 Dragos. 3 Kaldor Dragos. There we go. Okay, Castellan. So my prediction was wrong. There's only 4 Castellans. I thought that there would be way more Castellans. It's so anti-meta right now, but there's only 4. And yeah. Let's see, anything else interesting? Yeah, so Caladius Tank way down the list here. Only 2 lists playing 5 Caladius Tanks in total. There you go. That is, it's. I don't really know what to make of that. There's only 6 repulsors in 2 lists, so that's kind of taking a dive. Deathwatch veterans, and yeah, I think we can Go on. Okay, so that's pretty interesting. Unit data. Okay, and that's just breaking down what everybody's playing. Okay, so those are some interesting stats. Let's go look at some specific lists. So I can't go through 114 lists. I'm going to look at some interesting people's lists and kind of make some predictions. So I'm going to pick some people who I think have a decent chance of dethroning Scary. No offense if I don't pick you. Please don't hate me. And I'm not always right. But just based on performance and the meta and what they're bringing, these are my picks. So I think Scary, let me go to Scary's list. He's the defending champion. Let's see what Scary's bringing. So he was just off of ETC playing Venom spam, basically. So he's bringing an Archon, Yvrain. Woohoo! Interesting. Cabalite Warriors, a Lamian, and Triple Ravager. Then he's still bringing a bunch of Venoms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Venoms. And then he's bringing Rax. 1, 2, 3, 4 to 6 Talos. And Reavers and Scourges. So he's going back to the Talos heavy list, which I think is very strong. So I think with that kind of list, he has a good chance of winning again. I mean, and he obviously knows how to play Drukhari. He's going to have the target on his back, but Scary's got to be on the list of people who may do well. All right, since he's here and everybody's wants to know, let's talk about Jim. So Jim Vessel is bringing the usual Poxbringer, Sloppity Bowpiper, 3 Nurglings. So there was a question about the utility of Nurglings now in what people are already calling Space Marine meta, even though the book is not being released yet, but a meta where you're going to have infiltrating, Ripley dreadnoughts, you're going to have infiltrating incursors, and you're going to have drop pods, maybe. And so do you need Nurglings to get you space? Nurglings are definitely good engineers because they just sit in a rune somewhere on an objective and nobody ever wants to spend effort killing those guys. So they basically an auto 4 points for engineers. And also they take up space and prevent deep strikes and stuff like that. So I think actually Nurglings are pretty good. So I'll be surprised if we don't see a lot of Nurglings. But yeah, so Jim popping some Nurglings in there. Then he's got the usual 60 Plague Bearers. Then he's got Ahriman, 2 Demon Princes, and a Change Caster, the Axe Dude, and the Contorted Epitome, which is amazing. I'm not sure why everybody's not running Contorted Epitome. And then a small Bloodletter Bomb, Pink Horror Bomb, and 10 Brimstone Horrors. There you go. So Jim obviously coming off a win at T-Shift. Feeling confident. And I think Jim stands a good chance of winning. So that's the list to beat. There's a lot of copycats out there, but not a lot of people making vegan pizza. So there you go. Oh, and 33 reinforcement points, which is apparently some secret sauce, according to Jim. Rebel JX, there's no glory greater than a lifetime of dutiful service. Okay. So Jim is one person to look out for. We'll try and get him on the stream too. Okay. Who else? Let's go back to the top here and scroll down. So okay, let's look at Yoshi's list. Yoshi did pretty well at TGX. I think, what's he playing? Oh, he's playing Drukhari. Interesting. Okay, so he's playing Drukhari, Venoms, and Flyers. So he's got 3 Crimson Hunters, 3 Void Ravens, and 2 Razor Wings. So he's got 8 Flyers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yoshi. And he still has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Venoms and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units of Warriors with 2 Archons. I think that's a nasty list. It's got lots of Flyers, and it's still got all this objective holding and little Venoms that are surprisingly hard to kill, zooming around, capping objectives, shooting things, charging things. I think that's a good list, and Yoshi's a good player, and so I think he can do pretty well. So watch out for that one. I'm going to call out Dominic here. Dominic playing Imperium. He's playing Smash Captains, Big Death Watch Detachment, and 3 Lehman Russ Conquerors. And I've played that firsthand, and it's got a lot of firepower. It's got a lot of little ways of getting around the board. It can hold a lot of space. It can kill things with those Smash Captains. I think Dominic, and he's been playing a lot and practicing a lot with it. So I think Dominic has potential to do very well. And if he doesn't, he'll probably win Best Painted because his army's beautiful. Oh, Yoshi's joined us. I called you out, Yoshi. I said you're going to do well, so don't let me down, man. All right, I got to point out Eric's list, Eric Truck. He is a fellow Custodes player. He's been playing this list for a while. He is playing a foot list with 11 Aquilon Terminators. So he's got his Guardian Battalion and then 11 Aquilon Terminators. And that will kill a lot of shit. And so I'd like to see how he goes up against this meta of Knights and Tank Commanders and things like that. So that's pretty interesting. I think the only problem is he'll get like wrapped up by like Plague Bears and Smite to death, and so he might have trouble with that list because he can't stay back from them. He can't stay back like my list can with a shooting gun line at the back. So I think he might struggle against that, against a good player with the Chaos list. It's basically a toss-up with the triple Knights. Can you get your Homer in there close enough and get them in? You win. If you don't, you lose. GSC might struggle against that because a unit of Rock Size will kill a unit of Aquilons, no problem. And then they still have 4,000 points of stuff in reserve. So we'll see how Eric does. He's been doing pretty well with it. He's a good Custodes player, so I'm glad he could make it, and we'll see how he does. Okay, I'm going to shout out Francois Lalonde, my compatriot here. You see on the stream a lot. He's running Triple Crusader, basically, with Rusty 17 and Guard Battalion. And a Triple Crusader is nasty, and he's been playing a lot. He's been practicing, and he's been beating most people. So I think he's in it to win it, and I think Francois will do very well. I'm going to say hopefully 5-1, but maybe 4-2. But I think he's going to do well, and a little bit matchup dependent, but I think he's going to do well. So there's my shout out to Francois. And I had to do that because he's helping me move shit tomorrow. So there you go. Nick Blackburn in the house. I didn't skip you yet. I'm going to call you out, Nick. Either good or bad, I don't know. I haven't decided. Francois beat you today. Were you playing the 120 Orcs Prison Warden? Yeah, so Francois is on a warpath, man. You got to watch out. And nobody knows about him. You know, he's the secret sauce around here, so got to watch out. Okay, Jacob Fickner playing 2 Caladius and a Telemon with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 bikes. So I think that's a nice list. It's basically similar to my list, except I replaced the bike unit with the Aquilon. The only problem with bikes is you struggle against somebody like Francois. You won't get through 3 Knights with that list. The Telemon is okay against Knights, but Caladius Grav Tanks do like 2 to 4 wounds on a Knight on average. So not actually that good against Knights. And then Bikers are only good if you can get the charge and only for the first round of combat. And then you have to get a bit lucky on 5-ups to wounds. So I think a struggle without something to kill Knights reliably, because we have obviously heavy Knight meta, but it would be cool if he did well, because I want all Custodes players to do well. Let's look at what Sparks is playing. So, Jason Sparks, here we go. G-Man, 4 Assassins, Calidus, Eversur, 2 Vindicares. Then he's playing aggressors, 6 aggressors, and then 3 executioners with a Thunderfire cannon. There's some decent spec in there, and Jason's obviously a good player. I don't see this going 6-0, but I see it going 4-2, maybe 5-1, depending on matchups. So I'm shouting out Jason. I think he's going to do okay, but I don't think he's going to win it. All right, I want to see what Jeff's bringing. Jeff Pandaretta, CanHammer team member, playing GSC. He's been playing GSC all year. He's got 30 Brood Brothers and his 30 Aberrants. So he's still playing his 30 Aberrant list, and that also has 35 Acolyte hybrids with all the Roxas and the Flamer Bomb. It's just got wave after wave of ridiculousness, and it is really right when you think you're surviving, then it's like the next half of his army comes in and just wipes you. So it's a strong list. Jeff's been playing a lot. I think he's going to do pretty well. I hope he does well, and we'll see how that goes. All right, we already skipped Jim. Skip Jim. Oh wait, Kevin Armitage has been big. Oh no, not Kevin. It's Irvin, I think. Yeah, Irvin. Oh no, it's Kevin. Oh, he's not bringing the same list he said he was going to bring. Oh yeah, he is. Okay, so here's the secret sauce. Kevin's been big up in his list. So he's got Sisters, Canoness, Celestine, Battle Sisters, 2 Dominion squads with Storm Bolters, and 2 Repressors. Then he's got a Talarn Supreme Command, basically, with a Shadow Sword and a Trojan support vehicle. I think that's the one that lets them hit on 3s. So I have this Shadow Sword hitting on 3 probably. And then he has enough points for a Crass Crusader. So that's an interesting list. There's no triple Shadow Sword this year like there was last year. That is not a thing. So that will be interesting. I'm not going to look at Tau list because I don't like Tau. And, okay, since he's here, we're going to talk about Nick Blackburn's list. All right, Nick Blackburn's list. By the way, congratulations, Nick. He, literally had his baby, this morning or something. And congratulations. I applaud you for making it to Capital City Bloodbath with a newborn at home. And hopefully making good use of all that shit I gave you. So Nick is going to be running a Chaos lists. Change Caster, Demon Prince of Chaos with the Cornax, Poxbringer, 20 Pinks, Nurgling unit, and then the usual Plague Bears. Did you put the banners in? No, it doesn't look like Nick put the banners in. Then he's got the Demon Prince of Nurgle and the TJ style Terminators. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Terminators, the 2 Blightspawn. Then he's got Ahriman, Demon Prince, usual. So he's running kind of. I think it's the same list that I played a few weeks back. It's a good list. I think that he's gonna regret no banners, but we'll see. Hopefully Nick does well, because otherwise spending all his wife points on going 1 and 5 would be really devastating. There you go. All right. Who else we got? Okay, we did Scary already. Okay, let's talk about Sean Lee. He's a local guy. He doesn't really travel to tournaments, but he always does pretty well, and he always plays Eldari of some sort. So we'll see how he goes. So he's got Autark on the bike. He's got Storm Guardians, Rangers, a Wave Serpent. He's got his Reaper unit, and he's got a Viper. Don't really know what that is. Hemlock. And then he's got Archon, triple Ravagers, and then he's got 3 Talos with Urain Rakarth. That's an interesting toolsy list. We'll see how he does with that. Sean's a good player, and don't underestimate him. So let's see what Sebastian's bringing. Necron Tech. Sebastian from Cash Money. He's got Nefrek, Destroyer Lord, some Scarabs, 5 Wraiths, 6 Destroyers. Then he's got Nihilak Cryptek with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. A big unit of Tomb Blades, a lot of them, with Tesla Carbines. Then he's got triple Doomsday Arc, and then triple Doom Scythe. So the prototypical Necron list right now that everybody seems to run, and so it's been doing pretty well. Let's see if he can take it over the top. But yeah, see you later, Nick. See how he does with that. All right, let's see what Shaylin's bringing. Shaylin Allen from In the Finest Hour podcast. She's coming up with Josh, and she is bringing Grey Knights. Of course, she's a pretty well-known hardcore Grey Knight player. She's bringing a Grandmaster Dread Knight, a Grandmaster Dread Knight, Grandmaster Dread Knight, and then she's bringing Castellan Crow, one of my first models I ever got. Purifiers, and an Ancient. Then she's got 5 Rhinos. Then she's got Brother Captain Stern and 3 Servitors. That is interesting. Okay. Maybe just for an extra CP. For engineers. I don't know. So that's an interesting list. We'll see how well she does. And we thank her for coming all the way from the West Coast. Okay, let's see what Steve Pamprine's rocking. Steve Pamprine. He's got Orcs, of course. He's running the new Death Skulls thing. He's got the big mech with shock attack and probably the relic. Yeah, he's got the Dreadwall. He's got another big mech. He's got 30 Gretchen. Then he's rocking double Weird Boys, one unit of 30 boys, 30 more Gretchen. He's doing the Tank Buster tech. Then he's got a Freebooters detachment with Warboss on bike and Captain Badrook. Another 30 boys, and then 50 more Gretchen, 9 flash gits, and 5 smasher guns and a tractor cannon. It's a scary list. It's a lot of bodies. So Steve bringing the Orc Pain up to Capital City Bloodbath, which is pretty cool. So last year's finalist at the top table against Skari was Tim Dietlefs, and this year he is playing Drukari. Monkless, 3 units of Rax, 6 Talos, which he's actually borrowing from me, and the Mask. So Harlequins, he's using the Mask. Mask form. Shadow Seer, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 Skyweavers. And then 3 Razorwing jet fighters, 2 of which are mine. So that is a pretty nasty list. So watch out for that, Tim Dietlefs. And I think that brings us to the end. Okay, so that's 40K. What do people think about that? That is interesting. We always have a lot of Eldari Knights. There's a lot of chaos these days. And like only 5 Caladius tanks. So, my predictions. I think Jim's going to win it against Skari at the top table. And I think, unfortunately, whoever loses at the top table ends up usually dropping to like 4th or 5th. But I think that's going to be the top table. I think most of the people we talked about are going to be in contention by round 4, round 5. And, yeah. No, I don't think there's any Space Wolves. I'll look back at Peter's faction breakdown here. There's only 5... there's 1 Space Wolves list, and I don't know who it is. So, yeah. Okay, so that's 40K. Let's go talk some Sigmar. So Sigmar, we got up to 43 players, which is pretty good, I guess. I actually didn't think we would get anywhere near 50, so that's very good. Well done, Sigmar players. And I think that... we've done it's a decent sized event. Like it's actually a big event, but it just seems like it's not big because right next to it is 118 people playing 40K, but it's actually a pretty big event. So the Sigmar is basically this team from Quebec, Les Tireurs de Dés, pardon my French, versus Conquest from near Toronto. And then interspersed in there is random people like Phil and Barney and guys like that. So that's basically kind of what's happening. And so there's an interesting breakdown. There's actually Kharadron Overlords, there's some Flesh Eaters, there's some Gitz players, a Skaven, a couple of Nagash players, a bunch of Stormcast guys, no Daughters, which is really interesting, a couple of Deepkin players, including Olivier, who's the defending champion, and one Sylvaneth player, and a few Slanesh players, which are, I think, favored to win. One Seraphon player. So, interestingly, no Daughters, and a nice mix of everything else. Let's pick out some. So, I don't really remember which of the Tiro de Day guys were who. All I remember is they brought us really nice beer last year, so hopefully they repeat that performance. Let's talk about Barney. I'm going to rate Barney as a possible winner. He is a good player with an extremely strong list. So I think he stands a good chance, assuming that he's able to come. Anybody have insights into that? Phil, Francois? Okay, so he's running Slanesh. Keeper of Secrets, obviously, two of them. He's got a great Bray Shaman of Slanesh, interesting tech, and the Contorted Epitome, which is gross in AOS. It makes you, recast everything. Also extends your magic phase by, 20 minutes. Then he's got 30 Ungors of Slanesh, so he's changed his list from when we last played, and 30 Demonettes. And then he's got the Depraved, Drove, and Supreme Cybrites battalions, and Cogs. So that's an interesting list. We'll see how he does with that. He's called it the Nipple Twisters because he's running those alternative Greater Keeper of Slanesh models with the big boobs. Anyway, British humor probably. Okay. Curtis Clouet from the Drunken Dreadnoughts, one of the 4 or 5 Flesh Eaters players. He's basically playing what I play. Ghoul King on Terrorgeist with all the tech. Ether Quartz Brooch is a common. Since you can only buy one CP now, I guess more people are running Ether Quartz Brooch. Gruesome Bright, usual stuff. Another Ghoul King on Terrorgeist. A Crypt Gas Courier and 40-10-10 ghouls in a ghoul patrol, and an Archregent and the Chalice. Gristlegore. So that is a strong list. They didn't really change Gristlegore that much to make it worthwhile. The Gristlegore list is very strong and will table some fools. So I think Curtis, and he's a good player, he stands a good chance of taking this event. Adeptus Dacius, your Kharadrons will shock the world. Maybe, but we'll see. Crazy shooting might well shock the world. It's got to be said. So we'll see. Adeptus Dacius, remind me what your real name is, and we'll have a look at your list since you're talking a big game. Just looking at the Stormcast lists, and I'm trying to see if there's any crazy shooting Stormcast lists, but they all still look like Sequitors and Evocators and Gavriel Surecharge type lists, which is interesting because I thought that it moved on from that, but it just seemed like kind of last year's meta. Okay, so here we got Dave's list, and it's Aquilor with the Knight Azygos and the Lord Relictor, and 15 Vanguard Hunters, and 18 Shooting Raptors and Paladors. So there's a shooty Stormcast list for you. Guillaume is running Stormcast that is Judicators. Yes, Alex, so you're the first player. Okay, so here's the Kharadron list that's going to rock the world. We've got Barrack Zilfin, Chemist, Navigator, 10, so a whole bunch of shooty Arcanauts, 15 Thunderers, Engine Riggers, and then 6 Sky Wardens with the volley guns, and then the Frigate with the cannon. So it's a lot of shooting. We'll see. There's actually quite a lot of shooting in the AOS side, surprisingly, which is actually, probably good. So we'll see how that works out against these hard-hitting assault lists, basically. So we've got... Corn lists are kind of boring. We won't read those. There are a couple in the Gash list with the big man himself, even at 850 points. That's harsh. That's harsh. We've got Ivan from Conquest. I think he's bringing the triple grade unclean one. And yep, triple grade unclean one and Rodigus. So 4 big boys, blubber boys. So that's pretty hardcore. And if you can't beat 4 big boys, you're gonna lose that game. And then we have some more evocators and sequitors. Let's look at Olivier's list. So Olivier, last year's champion. Oh, let's see what Kevin's bringing with new Sylvaneth. He's the only Sylvaneth player. He's got Durthu, Drycha, Branch Wraith, and a Branch Witch. 1, 2, 3, 3 units of Spite Revenants, 9 Krylnoth Hunters, all with swords. So the new Sylvaneth tech. Snoot DeVille, welcome. Prison Warden, 0 Ogres represented. I'm afraid so. So let's see what Marc-Andre Heroux is bringing for Slanesh. So Keeper, Marauders, Demonettes, Hellstriders, and 6 Fiends. So pretty similar. Beasts of Chaos. Lots of Bestigors and Centaurs and Shamans. Yeah, I'm so sad that book really didn't go anywhere. It looked so promising when it first came out. A few Iron Jaws players. So, okay, Olivier's Deepkin list is pretty old school. He's got Volturnos, 1 Soul Scryer, so it's not really worth running 2 now. 9 Morsar Guard, and 6 and 3 of the Ishlian Guard. And he's got the Turtle, woohoo! The Leviathan, and Alopex, and 10 Corsairs with the Achillean Core Battalion. So I think there's some tech there. I think the Leviathan is actually pretty good, but just was not as good as running 56 eels. But it's fairly hard to kill. It's got a 3-up save. It does okay damage. It gives this cover save basically to your whole army in like a big aura because it's a big model, and it looks fucking cool. So, and the sharks are still pretty bad, but they're cheaper now, so at least you're not paying so much for them. You need to run it to run that battalion. I wish they would have made the sharks cooler because those are my favorite models. But, well, good luck to Olivier trying to defend his championship here with some Deepkin action. Okay. So my secret pick to win is Phil. Phil's been practicing a lot. And in between painting 4,000 gits, he has been practicing a lot. He's running a pretty good list that's going to control the board, and not a lot of lists have enough tech to get through 120 gits. So he's got the Fungoid, 2 Fungoids. He's got the Loon Boss on the Mangler with the Doppelganger. So he's always going to be able to hit you first, and that thing hurts. It doesn't survive very long, but it hurts. The only thing that hurts it really is the randomness. Then he's got apparently a secret tech, a web spinner shaman on the big fucking spider, which is a cool ass model. I don't know how good it is, but apparently it's pretty cool. And then he's got 120 gits. That is hard to get through 120 gits with basically making you -1 to hit all the time. -1 to hit in Sigmar is a big deal because most things are only hitting on 4s at best. So and that's going to hold like a lot of the board. So that's a good list. The gits are strong magically. And then he's got these 20 Boingot Bounders, which are surprisingly hard hitting on the charge because they can do all these mortals. And then he's got Sneaky Snufflers, which I don't know what that does. Then he's still beholden to his endless spells, Scuttle Tide, Malevolent Maelstrom. All right, so I'm going to pick Phil as doing very well. Hopefully you go 5-1, Phil. Maybe you win it all. Who knows? But I think you're going to do pretty well. No pressure. But he's been practicing a lot, so he's doing pretty good. All right, Raul from Conquest. By the way, so Dream Tea will be there in person. They're going to have a booth, and they're going to be selling all sorts of swag. CanHammer shirts, CanHammer hats, objective markers, the ones for 40K to 3-inch ones, and these massive 6-inch ones for AOS. They're going to have artwork and t-shirts, and they're gonna have all sorts of swag, so be sure to pick some stuff up if you want from the Dream Tee guys. They make all of our shirts and hats and objectives, and they make all that stuff. They can make MDF stuff. They make all sorts of stuff, so check them out. Dream Tee will be there. So Raul is bringing Archregent. He's playing Blister Skin, Archregent, Vargulf, 9 Flayers, 40 Crypt Ghouls, 9 Horrors, and 10 Grip Ghouls with the Royal Mordants. So that's kind of the other archetype right now, other than the big monster Gristlegore, is the Blister Skin, which is super fast with Horrors and Flayers. Now, everybody knows I hate Flayers, but, Flayers and Horrors as a combination is probably pretty good. I'm not sure how much the objectives are, but there's probably discount if you buy the CanHammer ones, so definitely check that out. Do you think if you brought a Chaos Warrior force on squares, it would sell? I think so. If you price it accordingly, not that hard to rebase everything. So yeah, I think so, Jim. Bring it in. And that's about it. Let's look at Simon, also from Conquest, his Skaven list. Is he bringing all the Warp Lightning? So he's got Vermin Lord Warpseer, he's got the Grey Seer on the bell, Bombardier, 40, 80, 120 Clan Rats, 9 Warplock Jezzails, and 2 Warp Lightning Cannons. So that's pretty standard. It's funny how you don't see that endless spell anymore anywhere. See Farsight, yes, just Google Dream Tee, DREAMTEE, and you'll see. We have a section on Dream Tee where we sell our stuff too, but yeah. Okay, so that is AOS. And that's it. So we didn't have list submission for doubles, so I don't know what people are playing. It's just going to be good fun. And we'll see how it goes. So, thank you everybody for joining me for this impromptu stream. I hope to see everybody there this weekend. It is not too late to sign up and come. There's still 2 days to the doubles and 3 days to the Saturday. Please do still come if you want to. It's not too late, and it's going to be an amazing time, and it's going to be super fun. So thank you very much, guys, and we will see you this weekend. I'm going to play, before I sign off, I'm going to play this awesome trailer again.
The Honest Wargamer presents, in association with the 40K Stat Center, and hosted by CanHammer, a Warhammer 40,000 event in ITC format. The world's best T-Sports commentators live on the Honest Wargamer Twitch. Who will be the champion, and how many nights will they have? Who will come last but will win our hearts? Join us for Canada's largest 40K event, the Capital City Bloodbath. You should join us. It's going to be really great.